Becka is got our star story today, and let me turn the floor over to her.
Thanks. So, last year was my first year as lead learner. Being able to stand up on stage and tell my story was a powerful moment I'll never forget. So I volunteered to do it again. We'll see if I can get through part 2 without crying, but I promise they're happy tears. Let's wind it back so you can get the full story, speedrun style. Year 1, fresh, had no idea what I was in for. Got comfortable, started to rewrite and enhance our lessons, started grad school, then an involuntary, but I agreed to it, grade level and classroom switch, start all over, great. COVID, Zoomers, rumors, I was the Zoom coordinator. Just let that marinate for a minute. For reference, a picture of me teaching on Zoom drawn by a student. We rewrote our lesson plans for online only. We rewrote them again for hybrid. We rewrote them again for all in person, but no small groups. We rewrote them again to include small groups. Burnt out. I get nominated for KTI. Didn't even realize there was this KTI PAECT world out here. Other people who were passionate and innovative and wanted to come up with cool lesson plans, unheard of. So then I realized what Summit actually was, and it absolutely reignited my spark. I was ready to rebuild those lessons again, to bring back the fun, to innovate. I remembered who I used to be before the burnout. I learned to call on my KTI family when I needed advice, a tip, or just to reignite my spark. I learned I could do this with some dude named Pete. Who was Pete? Not some dude, apparently, though I was sure it was a person until Wednesday. A conference? What's a conference? I get back to school that August and immediately ask my principal about Pete. My principal says yes, I was hype. I get to see the birds in the Super Bowl with my KTI family and relight my spark. I'm inspired. I want to feel like this all the time. I make a plan to make it happen. I want to be more involved. Spent a year saying no. Please email someone else on the PBIS Unified Track Reading Olympics grade level coordinator running club team. Spent a year saying yes. Yes, I would love to go to that meet and greet event. Yes, I will be seeing you on Zoom for that book club. Yes, I will be the Assistant Regional Director for Southeast PAECT. Yes, I would love to apply to be a lead learner. Yes, I would love to go to Pete again. I was ghosted. Admin never replied to my application. I would be the only lead learner not attending Pete. So I drove to Hershey just for KTI pre-con. I needed it. And then I did my favorite thing. Be passionately persistent. Asked for notes from those that did go, so admin could see that I cared. So I could still maybe learn something. And they did reply with a bunch of notes and hosted an AI PD for all coordinators. So maybe my asking led somewhere. And then it was time for Summit as a lead learner. I had worked so hard to make the time happen. I was so thankful. I cried the whole week. Most notably, when someone on a Wednesday night asked me about PAECT, and I talked about how going to those events, those happy hours, was just like KTI all over again. I couldn't finish explaining why they were so great. I was just so thankful to be here. I knew that I would connect with the other lead learners that week. I was in awe that I was even standing next to them. I got to see the behind-the-scenes magic. What I didn't realize was what I would gain from connecting with the stars. So let's rewind one more time. When I was a star and the Spark project was introduced, I had so many things I wanted to work on, I kept pushing for a perpetual tomorrow. So I made my project gamification, even though I knew it was really a 5-year project. Over the week, I created a goose chase for back to school, but it didn't feel like enough. I promised myself I would continue this pursuit even if it was slow. As a lead learner last summer, I volunteered to help with the Spark project. I made myself the demo slide for the collaborative deck and chose to continue my own Spark project throughout the week. A KTI star named Bob Barnhart came up to me to ask me about my interest in games. He was surprised to learn I hadn't started gamifying my classroom and shared a template for a power-up card with me. I put it in the tomorrow folder. I wanted to add guilds and all the things I'd heard Melissa Krenzer and others discuss they did in their classrooms. It sounded like a pipe dream. But it's day one, right? So I scheduled to lead an August book club through PAECT to actually force myself to read the book I promised as a star in 22. We had about a dozen people collaborating. I was so excited to share with my team. So I texted them. And then they told me they were reading Whole Brain Teaching instead. Another book to read in August, to again push my Spark project for tomorrow, and have to actually do something with this other book in September. But I read it, and we planned, and we made it work for us. And it actually paired well with gamification. Side note, I'm doing a session on these two books right after this. In August, I applied for Pete again, and I got ghosted again. So I got my union president to help me out. Conference application accepted, but at what cost? Are they mad? It's also the hardest year of my teaching career. We were warned, no stations, no desks and groups, take your good stuff home, check your ego, build relationships, and they'll be less defiant. We stick hard to whole brain teaching with the rules and class stories. We build relationships, we create order. I start to add a little fun and a little gamification in a way that wasn't overwhelming. I go to the board game convention in December and get us all giant D20s and add some double or nothing rules. I'm still thinking about power-up cards, but I'm overwhelmed. Maybe tomorrow. In late January, I don't want to go to the follow-up book club meeting. I'm burned out again. I go anyway. I learned from Chrissy that ChatGPT would create team names, villains, scripts, power-up cards. What? Mind blown. In February, I go back to Pete. I see my KTI people. I meet another person who gamifies their digital classroom as a tutor. Impressive. They inspire me to actually get to work. I started building power-up cards on the floor of the hotel and talked to Scott about getting them nominated to come to Summit. I went to a session on building thinking classrooms, gamified math. I get home, spend the weekend sending cards to our print shop and getting shower boards cut at Home Depot because apparently they're cheap, giant whiteboards. I spend all my time rewriting the curriculum one more time. But now, it's a passion project. I shared it with our math interventionist. I shared it with my team. They were in. Our kids had so much fun. We were in groups. They're using cards. We are gamified. It was a formal observation year, so I let my principal see it in action. She was up out of her chair, taking pictures and asking questions to the kids. The energy in the room was palpable. In our post-observation meeting, she said she rarely does this, but it was really, actually distinguished in almost every category. And she showed me the typed evidence. It was worth the work. I felt so accomplished. My gamification dreams came true, and it was only year 3. I said it would take 5. What's next year? Thanks to inspiration from my book club and the EMC Squared website resources from Michael Matera and John Meehan. So I'm so excited he's going to be here today. Semester-long guilds and an arch nemesis with some boss battles. Still sounds overwhelming, but it's achievable tomorrow. And the bonus,
This summer, I partnered with One Up EDU. Their mission is to connect kids through gaming. I connected with Josh at Pete a few times, and then at another game convention. He wanted to have lunch and see if I could help his company. He shared about all the things that they're doing to create game clubs in schools, but also STEM activities, a social role-playing game, and also pairing SEL content with common board games, like sharing a fact about yourself when you play a draw two card in Uno. It was almost too good to be true. This is my passion. Board games, gamification of learning and helping kids to connect in a way that doesn't feel forced the way our SEL scripted curriculum often feels. It made me realize that I might be able to take my passion for gaming and be able to advocate for it outside the four walls of my classroom. The problem is that admin isn't always on board to buy a new curriculum. How do we get this in the hands of teachers? So I suggested we put it on Teachers Pay Teachers. I would absolutely pay $5 for curriculum chapters to go with the Uno decks I already have in my recess cabinet. Sounds like a fun Friday activity to me. And the kids won't even realize that they're learning SEL and connecting with each other. Josh got to work and several games were posted by the end of the weekend. And so now I said yes one more time to another weekly staff meeting. A yes that will continue to light my spark. A yes that would not have been possible without KTI. I cannot thank the KTI family enough for everything they've done for me. And I hope that this week we give you the power to find your spark too. Thanks.